Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. I'm your host, Sebastian Contreras. I'm a Senior Development Success Engineer here at Vercel. And today with us is Michael Lacoya, Director of Software Engineer at PAIGE. As announced before, we will be diving into how PAIGE achieved a successful Black Friday 2024 with Vercel and the technicalities behind it. Remember that this session is also an MAA, so feel free to drop your questions in the chat. My co-host Sharon will be collecting the questions and we'll cover as many as we can during the Q&A. And as usual, for any questions that we don't get to answer, we'll reach out to you via email. So let's get started. Hi, Michael. Thanks for accepting our invitation. Please introduce yourself to the audience and tell us about your role and about PAIGE.
Hey guys, and yes, hello Sebastian. So my name is Michael. I am the Director of Software Engineering at PAIGE. Been at the company for about 5.5 years now. My role is mainly leading a team of developers at PAIGE. Our biggest role is on the e-com side with custom development on the website, but our company at PAIGE is an omni-channel experience. So for those unfamiliar with PAIGE as a brand or company, we have over 20 retail stores throughout the country, as well as in this past year started to open up internationally with stores in the UK, as well as we just opened up our first store in Macau, China, which is a big accomplishment. In addition to retail, we have the online e-commerce channel, which is mainly what I manage. And then we also do wholesale with kind of higher end department stores such as Bloomingdale, Nordstrom's, Neiman Marcus, that kind of tier. So we're across many different channels, but we're definitely in the kind of apparel space.
Okay, that's good. So I would like to start the conversation with Black Friday 2024 from a Vercel perspective. So what you're seeing on the screens are the numbers. Like we got almost 2 million concurrent requests per second at the highest peak. It was a total of 86 billion requests for the entire holiday. And our uptime went above our 99.99% uptime. So my first two questions are like, how was Black Friday 2024 for you, like on the client side, and how this experience with Vercel shaped your Black Friday preparation for 2025?
All right, yeah. So last year, Black Friday was the first Black Friday sale on the Vercel platform. We re-platformed on the Vercel. So this was a big test for us, just because, you always kind of want to prove it in a sense. And I'm happy to report that the term I always use for this is it was blissfully boring in the best way possible. What I mean by that is obviously you're always concerned about stability, site speed, and all that. And everything went out without any problems, very smooth. I was able to enjoy my Thanksgiving without having to huddle over a computer and put out fires that year. But in addition to just site speed and performance stability, record-breaking numbers for us. So it was wins across the entire board.
And for 2025, is that something that you want to do different? How
Well,
it looks with Vercel?
2025, we set a high bar for 2024. So 2025 is really trying to always beat that bar. But now with another year under our belt with Vercel, there's been a lot of new features, optimizations that we've made to go into this Black Friday, Cyber Monday, kind of even more confident than we were last year.
That's good. That's actually what I wanted to talk next, and is let's dive a little bit into scalability because
Yeah.
it's a core aspect when we have all these traffic spikes. So Vercel provides mechanisms, and we definitely did some improvements. The first one is like fluid compute, which is our new infrastructure model that allows you to execute functions in parallel within the instances and also scale the instances as we did before. We also have automatic regional failovers for your Vercel functions to avoid disruptions in case your main region falls. So you can set up a second region that can take over. And the Global Edge Network, which is the CDM part that, as part of dealing with these high amounts of traffic is serving catch content or static content closer to your users. But we also have all those mechanisms for ISR where we can on demand revalidate and put fresh content on the caching as well. So with that being said, we can affirm that Vercel has proven to scale. But more into your specific solution, what technical aspects have you considered for your enterprise architecture, given these elastic Vercel capabilities?
Yeah, so I think it's important to know where we came from before having these type of features. In our previous iteration of the website prior to Vercel, our hosting provider was it was not elastic. We were given a certain amount of kind of bandwidth and and kind of CPU, and we knew if the website went over that threshold, whether it was visitors, clicks, whatever it may be, that we would actually experience either some downtime, some slowiness on the site, just overall bad experience, which did occur in the previous version. So now being on Vercel and the website being elastic is huge for us because now as someone that manages the website and his main focus on is on stability, having it be elastic means, if, let's just say Taylor Swift went on Instagram Live and told the world to go buy Paige jeans, that I know that our site is still going to be stable and the elasticity is going to just put the resources, and the only thing that I'm going to get in the end of the month is just a higher bill because of that. But you don't want to miss out on those opportunities, or in this case, for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, those sales. So it's much more important to have the peace of mind when you sleep, when you wake up, that the site will scale to our enterprise needs.
Yeah, that's definitely a priority for us as well. We did test this fluid compute during Super Bowl this year, so it was like those spikes, and it scales well. I think scaling compute is very important in the sense that it's kind of like one of the things that break first. You can have catch, for the static websites, but nowadays dynamic features are everywhere. So having something like an elastic platform behind it really
Yeah.
makes a difference. Okay, so my last questions, I would like to ask this question based more on Vercel features.
Okay.
So when it comes to Black Friday, when it comes to Vercel, enterprises uses Vercel based on unique conditions that they have. And we also present the Vercel like scalability features and security and the different workflow features as different dimensions, but not all the companies interact with them on the same way. So for example, if we talk about monitoring and observability, there are companies that do everything from the dashboard and they go to observability plus or the real-time logs. And also you have usage alerts that notifies you like if you're reaching out to your allocation of MIUs. But also we have this new anomaly alerts observability, which is in beta. And that one will also let you and notify you if something goes wrong in terms of errors. And also if you have also some usages, and that can pipe like in Slack or emails as well. But we have other companies that go out of the dashboard. So what they have is log drains. So they pipeline all the logs from Vercel into an external platform. And there they have their dashboards as well. When you look at it from a platform security perspective, it's kind of similar in the sense that you have things that we provide by default. Like the DDoS protection is there. You don't need to do anything to get it working. But you also have things on the extreme like bot ID, which is our Quesada Bake advanced protection for bots that you actually have to modify the code to make it work. And in between, you have things like your WAF custom rules that you can do in the dashboard, but those are typically designed for your custom business requirements, and some opt-in features like managed rule sets. So you can define where you want to be in, how you want to be involved with the platform security. Also, workflow. Workflow is very interesting because there are different ways in which you can handle it. Like some companies have like instant rollbacks as the way to deal with if something goes wrong in production. It's like this deployment sequence, and then you can select a previous one, and you can say, now you are my live deployment. And that one would be without zero downtime. So that's one way. But there are flags, rolling releases, which is our newest deployment strategy. And also you have the people. So you have the 24/7 support team, our SLAs that will depend on your contract, and also weekday support. That is kind of like my role that we can meet before, and then we can define and check your configurations and see like if everything is going correctly. So with all those features that I presented, I almost lost my breath there. The question is like, if you think about your Black Friday 2025 playbook, which Vercel features have you considered like a must-have? And what roles and responsibilities have you defined for your team in relation to those features with Vercel?
Yeah, I will start off by saying definitely a lot of features, and for those maybe watching this, don't stress out about thinking you have to implement all of these all at once. Even us, we're still kind of slowly picking away at things we want to add on in terms of this list. We're not all fully there. But we do use a diverse amount on this list, and it is also kind of either managed or supported by different members of the team with different tiers of kind of permissions on the site. So I'll go over a few specifics just so everyone has like an example. Starting with something like the real-time logs, we have our QA who periodically checks these logs on a consistent basis to see if anything is popping up in the logs that we might need to inherently create a bug ticket for in the back end because we're seeing specific either 4xx or 5xx errors. In terms of platform security, always that's the top of the list in terms of priority, especially for myself. So we've really over the past year started to dial in on specific WAF custom rules, as well as tested you guys' bot protection in terms of like implicit rule sets. Instant rollbacks. I think this is the one that's like gives me less headaches throughout the years compared to before, because I mean it's not a joke when it's instant. We could be on this call right now. I could get a Slack message that, hey, there's this issue, and I could roll back while doing this webinar and not even skip a beat. That's how good it is. And the history goes all the way far back. We can even look into the previous deployments and see if the issue was persistent there to determine which one we want to roll back to. So we have all the history. Um, and then one thing recently that we've been doing is our kind of business side and more on digital, kind of like digital analytics, is starting to leverage the web analytics within Vercel. So they're not actually technical team at all, but we give them view-only permissions. And they've been leveraging looking at the web analytics to kind of track how some of their campaigns are going, because Vercel, being the hosting provider, has access to some of the either endpoints, the query parameters, to see how their campaigns are going. So that's like a new one. So it just goes to show, and then sorry, lastly, the 24/7 support. It's another big one that gives me less headaches throughout the year. I will first and foremost say Sebastian is not someone that's new to me. When we first joined Vercel, we also built our website on Next.js, and Next.js is kind of, under the Vercel umbrella. And not only did we get support on Vercel itself, but also on Next.js, and Sebastian was very helpful getting us across the finish line there. It's one of those things where you may not need it every day, but when you need it, you're sure glad they're there. So in terms of ticket support, I definitely have kind of take the lead there of any P1 tickets. But I will say, because we have good support and not nearly as much issues in the past, it's one of those things it's nice to have, but we're happy to say we haven't had to leverage that as much as we would if we weren't on Vercel.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Yeah, we were before. Is one of those weekday support things that I was talking. It was good to see where were the, especially at that time, the different catching strategies that can make a difference when it comes to something like Black Friday, even if it's not only the CDN catch, but you can do data catch or things like that to protect against like traffic spikes. And you mentioned something that I would also like to highlight, the 24/7 support team that you define to take ownership of those tickets. That's important because anyone on the team can technically go and file a ticket, but the more control there is in who files it and when is filed, it also helps into like how we articulate actions, like contingency actions coordinatedly, which is a challenge if you have someone that notifies the support, creates a support ticket, but is not involved in the decision making if we need to escalate something on the client side. So I think that that's good. as a
I would even
strategy.
add this is more at anyone that's listening to this who's also building Next.js, at least with the enterprise support. You guys are just able to get even more, dig a little bit deeper into root causes. And there's been times where you guys gain access to our code base for an issue and actually look into it, which is kind of like a beautiful thing with Next.js and Vercel working well together. Historically, in the past, you would have a lot of vendors pointing the finger at each other, but because our framework and our hosting provider is the same, we can solely work on the issue in-house without having to go to a bunch of different people who are kind of t pointing the blame somewhere else. So it's much better work process when it's all combined into one.
Yeah, we try to keep everything good for our customers for sure.
Yeah.
So those were all the questions I had. So I think we can open the Q&A section, Sharon. Okay, so our first question is, how can I be notified by Vercel if something goes wrong? So I think the new feature is part of Observability Plus that is called Anomaly Alerts. It's definitely worth checking. You can define if you wanted to send a notification to Slack or email. Uh, and it is also attached to errors and spikes. So in case there is an error, then it will notify you like proactively before it becomes something worse. And also you have by default the notifications, alerts, and usage, which are also related to if something goes wrong, it tends to spike. So I will recommend you to verify your notification settings before Black Friday because those needs to, I mean, we have cases that now the email that is there is no one is taking care of that email or something like that. So make sure that you have everything there. Okay, another questions I see is like, what is the best way to receive support from Vercel in case something happens? For sure, is the open a support case. On holidays and things like Black Friday, there is a severity, and whenever you open a ticket, a support ticket with Vercel, there is a severity category, and if you have like your production traffic or your production site is suffering, that gets treated like prioritized for the entire team. We also have our product team, and platform team, of course, making sure that everything works smoothly. But having a support case is the official way in which we can track, SLAs and the time and the responses. So some of their enterprise customers have us on the Slack channels that they can reach out to us, like the weekday support. But the initial step is always should be like a support case. Okay, another question is where can I find downtime of a Vercel incident? This is good. Um, I think one way you can file your support ticket, and normally they got under investigation, and someone is going to check on that. But check out our Vercel status page. And in the Vercel status page, we update any incident and we put the downtime there if you need it to correlate downtimes across other stacks on your platform. Okay, so this one, where can I find overall recommendations to prepare for Black Friday? I don't know. We do have a production checklist, and we also have some official documentation on Black Friday itself. If you look at like preparing for Black Friday Vercel, it will show you. But I don't know, Michael, if you want to describe how it was for you, like how do you engage with us when we were getting closer to Black Friday 2024? How was the process for you?
To clarify, you mean like prepping communication with you guys just to make sure we're all in a good place? Is that what you're kind of referring to?
Yeah, and a little bit of like the process, I will start with that because it's kind of like the standard procedure. We send the production checklist whenever
Right.
we're approaching there. But what else?
Yeah, so I would say it's a bit different than our first year. Our first year, I wouldn't say we had trust issues, but we hadn't seen the proof yet, so we were much more uh we wanted to prep a little bit more. And during that time we met with you guys prior and we ended up doing some stress tests on the website to kind of see how it would behave as if it was Black Friday, Cyber Monday in terms of visitors and clicks. And everything went super smooth. So we were very confident. You guys obviously with enterprise support We have direct communications with our account reps. We meet on a recurring basis. Um, Throughout the years, we're just always aligned on goals and understand that at this point, it's more about stability. And so this year going into it, it's been a little bit more just higher trust because it was proven last year. So we kind of know and we have our bearings going into this exactly what we can expect and no different than last year. So I will say it's been easy. I don't know how else to really say it, but it's a great feeling, knock on wood, of course. But we're in a place right now where we're on code freeze, and the name of the game is just site speed and stability.
Yeah, I think after the code freeze is like knock on wood, let's wait for the better. And we really hope that you have a very boring Black Friday this year as well, Michael.
Appreciate it.
And just that's pretty much that's all the time we have for today. So thank you so much for joining us. Both mine and Michael's emails are here on the screen. So if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out directly. And thanks again for being part of today's session. And we hope to see you on the next one. Goodbye.